Welcome to the Serenity Resource Connector's Local Governance and Community Development Live Forum, brought to you in partnership with the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. If you're new to this space, I'm your moderator, Winston Maragh, and on this episode, we turn the spotlight on a matter that affects every household, school, business, and street corner: public health and sanitation in Clarendon. We'll explore the critical role of the Public Health and Sanitation Committee, understand the challenges, highlight community involvement, and uncover solutions that work. And we need your input as we go ahead with the discussion. So we're honored to have with us Councillor Winston Maragh, who is the chair for that committee, along with the CEO himself, Mr. Rowan Blake, who heads the administrative arm of the corporation. And as always, we encourage you to put your questions and comments, concerns in the chat, because your voice matters in shaping a cleaner, healthier Clarendon that will serve us well. So help me make welcome our chairman, Councillor Winston Maragh, and CEO Rowan Blake. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. It's been a long time, Sir Blake. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Space. All right. So let's get started. And as always, we start with an understanding of the committee to see how exactly it works. So, Councillor Maragh, what are the core functions of the Public Health and Sanitation Committee?
All right, so the Public Health and Sanitation Committee, first of all, let me tell you, has been around for many, many years, from the days when we were known as the Clarendon Parish Council, as well as even before that, when we were known as the Clarendon Parochial Board. So the Public Health and Sanitation Committee sees to the public health, as the name suggests, and the sanitation of our parish and the people of our parish. So we cover a wide area, of health and sanitation. And of course, this includes the public health department, and as well as the solid waste people who collect and sweep the streets and collect the garbage and so on and so forth. And of course, it consists of, in Clarendon, it consists of all the members of the corporation. So that means all councillors are members of this committee.
All right, which we would imagine, because we opened by saying it affects everyone down to the man on the corner. And so all the councillors are part of that. And you mentioned in terms of the different agencies. So Sir Blake, talk to us a little more about that in terms of what are some of the key agencies? Councillor Maragh mentioned some just now, and just lay out for us the legal and policy framework that guides the committee's operation.
Okay, so as Councillor Maragh stated, the Clarendon Municipal Corporation is the local board of health. And just to inform you that there was a time when the health department was a part of the Clarendon Municipal Corporation. Now the department reports to the Ministry of Health. That means we had the sole responsibility for those health issues at that time. The major agencies that support our mission at this time has to do with the health department, the National Solid Waste Authority through the Southern Parks and Market. We do have National Water Commission, and all other entities that has anything to do with sanitation and health within the parish of Clarendon. You did ask about the laws. There are several laws and regulations that govern public health. And just to name a few, the Public Health Act, I think that's our Bible. You do have the Cemetery Management and Regulation Act, the Litter Act, the Nursing Home Registration Act, the Parish's Water Supply Act, Town Nuisance Act, Public Health Butchers Regulation, Barbers and Hairdressers Regulation, and the list goes on. Several pieces of legislation guides what we do.
Okay, I don't know about the live viewers. You can put a one or something in the comments if you are like me, where you are just learning that public health was a part of the corporation before it went to health. That's information for me. So we are in class. So let's talk a little more about community health and sanitation in terms of priorities. Councillor Maragh, what are the top three public health and sanitation concerns currently affecting communities in Clarendon?
Okay, well, as members of the corporation and as members of the Public Health and Sanitation Committee, we're also councillors, eh? And councillors represent people. So, of course, the people would always call us whenever they have a concern or they see something going wrong. So, yes, we do from time to time, even though the government had brought in some garbage trucks, some new garbage trucks, 50 plus 50 again. But we do still have a challenge with garbage collection. You see, there was a time previously, in previous years, when we had regular scheduled collection, and we're not able to go back to that regular scheduled collection as it used to be in previous years. So people will complain about that. And I'll tell you why I said that. We had communities in those days when we had enough trucks where they would collect twice per week. Now some of these communities are only being collected once per week. And these are the communities on the outskirts of the towns, we call them, eh? Housing schemes like Mineral Heights, Longville Park, they would do a twice per week, I think, still. But then we have the other communities that are affected by this. And so the people would complain about that. They would also complain as soon as there's a leaking pipe somewhere along the line, because leaking pipes breed mosquitoes. Eh? The water from the pipes breed mosquitoes. As long as they're a day or more, then it starts breeding mosquitoes. And we do have people who complain about illegal dumping of garbage. Of course, people will dump garbage or anywhere they see. And garbage attracts garbage, right? So you see a little heap right here, and a passerby passing, and he has a garbage bag to dispose of. You just put it right there, right? If it's some already, just put it right here, and it builds up. So we do have challenges in these areas that we are yet to overcome all of these obstacles. And they do have, of course, mosquitoes is a main problem that we have had. In previous years, we didn't have so much mosquito complaints coming from the hills. Now we have mosquitoes everywhere in the parish. They used to be concentrated in the central and the southern area where we have the flatlands. Now everybody is complaining about mosquitoes. So we do have a number of complaints coming from community people.
We're getting a bit of a feedback from your end, Councillor Maragh. Not sure what's happening there, but yes.
Some of I do have some concerns that I see very frequently. One of which Councillor Maragh spoke about has to do with solid waste collection and management. But one of the three other topical ones that are within the parish at this point has to do with overgrown lots. And that is what persons not debushing their lots. We do have a shortage of burial spaces, and the Public Health Committee deals with management of cemeteries. And we also have an issue with the management of our sewage systems within the parish and the need for a new sewage system for the town of Maypen. So those are other issues that we are grappling with and trying to resolve.
All right.
Okay. All right. So interestingly, I heard a conversation at a meeting yesterday where someone was just learning that there are two arms at the municipal corporation. So explain for us now in terms of enforcement. Is it the committee or the administrative arm that deals with enforcement of the regulations?
Okay, so the political arm makes the policies, and the administrative arm will carry out the enforcement. As relates to public health, some of the issues we're having is that it's a multi-agency approach as relates to monitoring and enforcement. So one of the issues is that some of what is required are vested in the authority of other entities. So, for example, the public health department still carry out a lot of monitoring as it relates to food safety and the public health related issues. So they would monitor and they would also enforce. We do have solid waste authority that does a lot of the enforcement as it relates to the Litter Act. Water Commission, they are the one who manage sewage systems, and they also monitors that. The Public Health Department also does quality of water and so on. So you have various entities that would do enforcement as it relates to public health. Or municipal police also do some of those enforcement, but all enforcement is not vested in the corporation at this time.
So when we have the meetings, is there any discussion at the committee level, Councillor Maragh, as it relates to like vector control and garbage collection and how that is handled? We have Carleen Miller-Thompson from Upper Clarendon weighing in, says that garbage collection is woefully inadequate, as you were mentioning earlier. So talk to us.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. As a matter of fact, as I said before, we're councillors, we represent people, so we get the complaints on a daily basis. And so yes, there's a lot of discussions about garbage collections or lack of thereof, as well as the sanitation part of it, the public health. We do discuss vigorously with the chief public health inspector, whoever attends the meeting from the health department, about the vector management, vector control, not only mosquitoes, but we do have to think about the rats sometimes and all of that. So we do have rigorous discussions on all of these matters, because we as a committee want to ensure that if we can't perfect what is happening, we need to make it near perfect. So we want all our agencies and all our reps of the agencies to be out there working on a regular basis. And as I say that, I also would like to remind you that the Public Health Department also has a team of vector control workers who are out in the field on a daily basis. And so, yes, so they are like semi-permanently employed right now. So each parish has an allocation of, say, 30 or 40 people who go out on a daily basis to ensure house to house, to ensure that the citizens, the residents are taking care of their surroundings. Teach them what to do, what not to do.
And just to add to that, so the corporation is not just making the policies. There are times when we really collaborate on some of these issues. And so for vector control, there are times when we also provide funding to the department. And we also provide labor times.
Yes.
And times just to support some of these initiatives.
And our vehicles too. As long as they're available and the department is short, we send our vehicles out there at nights.
Okay. The collaboration at work.
Definitely.
Right.
But based on the question, Ms. Mita, that was asked regarding garbage collection, we are aware of the situation. To inform the public, the corporation is responsible for solid waste management, but we actually, based on regulations and laws, it is the National Solid Waste Authority that carry out that function on behalf of the corporation. And just to say, we pay over a substantial amount of money to solid waste every year. This year, we have budgeted over 98 million for solid waste. That means they will be getting at least 8 million per month to clean Clarendon. So we have done our part in sending over the money to the entity to ensure that they clean the parish as best to meet the standard that we as Clarendonians expect.
Okay. Before we continue, let me acknowledge those persons joining us over there on Instagram. And Marsha Peck, greetings to you. Youth Forum, Community Safety and Security, Early Childhood, and now Local Governance. Welcome to the SRC community. All right, great to have you. All right, so we are getting closer to the hurricane season, and disaster preparedness, I know, is one of the challenges that we have in Clarendon. So as it relates to post-hurricane sanitation efforts, what role does the municipal corporation play in that regard?
Okay. So the Parish Disaster Committee is chaired by the mayor and co-chaired by the custos of parish. It is really a multi-sectoral approach to disaster, and it mirrors the National Disaster Committee, which is chaired by the Prime Minister. What it means is that we lead as it relates to all aspects of disaster preparedness. As it relates to post cleanup, it would mean we at the corporation would lead, but there are other agencies that play a part. Solid waste will do bulk waste after the disaster. We have the department that does a lot of the vector control and other cleanup of the area. And based on the impact of a disaster, sometimes the army is even called in if we need other additional support. So all entities would have played a part in cleaning up after a disaster.
Okay, because you know, after a number of times we have the mosquito infestation because a lot of new breeding sites and all of that pop up. All right.
So what it does, it depends on the aspect of the cleanup. The agency responsible would have done that cleanup. And there are times when we do work before the say a hurricane, because we would have anticipated. So JPS, for example, would have gone out to trim the overhanging trees. The corporation would have moved in before to move bulky waste, which may have caused their danger to the public. So there are times when we do work before, but after the cleanup, the different agencies will have done cleanup in areas that they have jurisdiction.
Okay. Welcome, Ms. Grant. Thank you for joining us. All right. Carleen Miller-Thompson is asking, who is responsible for ensuring that the parish gets its money's worth in terms of garbage collection?
Okay. You want to go, Councillor, you want me to take this one?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, as Mr. Blake said earlier, there was a time when all of these used to be directly under our purview. All right. But the Ministry of Local Government really uses our money to pay for these things. So the solid waste people would be responsible. Of course, we would have an oversight of the activities and so on. You see?
Sure.
Right.
And so what we depend on feedback from our community. We depend on the representation of the councils because they would be aware of what is happening in their division. And as, when they make those representation, then we will forward those information to solid waste to ensure that improvement is made. But just to say that there are some significant challenges that I know the SPM is facing and the parish is facing, and that has to do with Clarendon has no disposal site. And so our garbage has to be taken to Martinsville, into Mandeville, or to Riverton. That means the turnaround time is very long, so it takes more time to move the garbage within the parish. And we believe if we had a disposal site within the parish, we could maybe triple the number of trips, and that would make our parish a lot cleaner. So we are embarking on a project where we, along with solid waste, is looking at different locations to find a site that can be utilized. If not a final disposal site, just a transfer station where it can be moved to that location, and then larger units will move it to the sanitary landfills.
All right, so already we are hearing some solutions. Welcome, JP Wilson from out of Longville Park. Thank you for joining us. All right, and you segue nicely into the next element, one of my favorite in terms of stakeholder and community engagement. How does the committee engage citizens and community-based organizations in sanitation efforts? Chairman Maragh.
All right. So as is being said, the councillors have a responsibility to attend their citizens association meetings, community development committee meetings, and of course they would feedback, to us and to the committee, as well as sometimes directly to the agency, depending on the time of the month that they get all of these complaints, as well as we always say to citizens groups whenever we have our engagements, we normally say to them, you can always send in through our website, through our email addresses at the municipal corporation. We do have a form at the front desk where if you have a complaint, you can come and fill it out. And as soon as we receive that form filled out, then we act on it. So whatever the complaint is, we act in that area, a specific area. So we do have community engagement. And of course, our SDC officer sometimes comes to our meetings, the parish manager, and of course, we pass on all of this information. So from time to time, we are engaging the community people. And those of us who are watching and listening now, I just like to say, if you didn't know this, you can always call the municipal corporation. If you have a complaint, if you happen to be in Maypen, you can drop by and fill out one of those forms, as well as sending the complaint to our email addresses. And we will just deal with it as quickly as possible. I know for me, myself, I get complaints on a regular basis. And I just forward it to the parish manager for SPM right away. And she deals with it. By the following day, I get a feedback from the community. Yes, the truck came or so and so happened. And that's all the thing. So the system that we have is working. We just need more people to be aware and know what to do.
All right. And already we have on YouTube alone 21 live viewers, and I know these are community group leaders. I see our youth president for the parish and some of his execs here in the chat. We have Comfort District on, Palmer's Cross on. Greetings to you over there in Palmer's Cross. And for, I note your question, concern, Mrs. Thompson, Lady Grant, we will look at those in a little while. Go ahead, sir, please.
Yes, I just want to add that the community engagement is not just us, it's not just about the collection itself. So we do engage through town hall meetings. Wherever we go, we usually carry the entities to the area to listen to the residents, but also to, as well as public education, to speak to them about proper methods of garbage collection, how it is stored, not to burn, environmental health issues and relates to those to public health. So engagement is through this public consultation. I know we also do a lot of visits to schools, and especially through our disaster coordinator, and some of these would have been highlighted also to the students. Just to say also that we do have collaboration with some communities, especially those with strong community groups, because there are times when we have cleanup projects in certain areas, some requested by the community or some based on our assessment, we realize the need of urgent cleanup. Just to say that I think the next one on our schedule should be Rock River. We did a town hall meeting there and they highlighted that there are some areas in Rock River that needs urgent cleanup. And I know the mayor is planning a work day in that area for cleanup. So we do this type of community collaboration and community engagement. Also, I just want to mention that a few years ago, we had a commission called the Best Kept Community Commission. And that was where we would have created communities that are clean and we would have awarded the Best Kept Community. That is something that we are looking at again to engage residents so that people take pride in cleaning their space also.
All right. So already you have responded to Ms. Grant over there in Rock River. So you heard that, Lady Grant? You're on the Rock River is on the schedule. So look out for the team. All right. Any other successful initiatives, collaborations as it relates to improvements in public health sanitation, Sadly?
Okay, so there are some things that we are proud about, and one of them, for me personally, and I know Councillor Maragh maybe even more so, is that, and this was started under his tenure, we have done lots of water supply systems because public health deals with quality of water and have persons accessing potable water. And we have expanded, renovated, and done a lot of work on our water supply system, especially within the Campstone, Moko divisions, and also in the Kellits division. Those areas are really not serviced. A lot of those areas are not serviced by NWC. So we have done a lot of work, and this is done in collaboration with the PDC in many occasions to upgrade these systems. But not only upgrade these systems. Few years ago, when water tests were done, a lot of our systems were not satisfactory. At the last month public health committee meeting, only two had readings that were concerning, and when we went back in, those were corrected, and so we continue to ensure that the water quality in Clarendon is good. So that for me is a big success. Want to highlight also that we try to ensure that the towns are clean, and I want to at this point congratulate the persons in Chapelton, because based on where we sit, Chapelton is the cleanest town in the parish. And we are proud of that, and we want to ensure that other towns emulate Chapelton and get on board and get as clean as Chapelton. So those are some of the things I want to highlight.
All right. Flowers coming in, virtual flowers. Commendations on the water supply. We are grateful. And this is from Upper Clarendon, and Ms. Grant, looking forward to seeing the team. That is great news. We are always happy to share great news.
Right. But before we move on, we have a lot more work to do on our water supply system. Just yesterday, I had a meeting with our Minister Mackenzie, and we outlined to him that there are still some systems in the parish that needs improvement, need chlorination chambers. There are some entomb springs and wayside tanks and those there that need additional support. Just to also inform the public that under the restructuring of the government sector, we have gotten posts and the establishment for additional persons to maintain and manage these facilities. So when those persons are employed, we should see some improvement in these areas also.
All right.
Can I just add that if there are any member here watching us, who have joined us, and they have a water source in their area, and they have no system in their community, let us know about it. So we might very well be able to build a system for them.
Yeah. So there are downsides, and based on the fact that we're saying that we're highlighting these, some of the issues are that for areas that we have improved the system and pipe waters to persons, those persons still refuse to pay. And if we're not collecting these monies for these to supply this water, then the systems themselves will deteriorate. So we're employing persons who are connected to the system to pay the stipend, I could call it, because we charge much less than NWC. So we're asking them to pay the system. And then there are persons in the community that would be very selfish, and they would block the water at their gate or entrance so the water can't reach other persons. And there are also farmers who would allow their animals to be tied on some of these, what do you call them, barbecue area. So that in itself will affect the quality of water. So there are numerous issues that we are still facing, but we are working to resolve these issues. And I can tell you that lots of work was done in Brandon Hill recently, and we millions of dollars spent in Brandon Hill, and we intend to complete that project to ensure that people in Brandon Hill will get access to more sustainable supply.
Yeah, Brandon, the supply only have like a couple of streets left, some small streets, and the Turtle Pond area. And of course, we had started the one at Bunkers Hill. and that also is being completed. All the streets there have been piped out. Primary school is getting water now. All of these things we have been working on for a couple of years now, and people are benefited.
Mm.
Awesome. All right. Our youth mayor is on. Welcome to John. Thank you for joining us. All right.
And-
Kennedy Grove, I've noted your comment. We'll take that in a little while. Go ahead,
Yeah,
sir.
before I move on, just to say that, so it's irrespective of what we do, we still need the community to take ownership of these systems. If they don't care for these systems, then we will definitely have issues. There are farmers who will dam certain areas to get water to their crops. That in itself will impact on the flow of water. So there are numerous local issues in the communities that are impacting on the supply to the wider community.
Okay. Take note of that. All right. Let's look back at some of the challenges and opportunities for improvement as it relates to public health. What are some of the biggest challenges facing maintaining public health standards from where you sit, Sir Blake?
Okay, there are numerous issues. Let me say, and this is not in a chronological order of importance or significance, but for one, I think we have a cultural problem. And cultural problem because of the way that person deals with garbage. A few months ago, we got complained that persons in the Kelitia was dumping garbage in the river in Pedro. That's on the border of Clarendon and St. Anne. So persons still continue to dump garbage in sensitive areas like the river. There are persons who the illegal dumps through the parish is also of concern. So persons continue to drive in their cars and dump garbage anywhere. We still have a lot of persons burning garbage. So the practices are a problem. We also have issues as it relates to business owners. The arrangement is that the money that we pay to solid waste is to collect residential garbage. Business owners are responsible for their own collection. And so they should engage a private contractor or the solid waste entity to pick up their garbage. What they're doing is they are leaving the garbage on the street sides, they are leaving the garbage sometimes in our markets, they are leaving the garbage in places within the town. And so when the garbage trucks come, because of the condition of those areas, they will have to be collecting those garbage. And so the residential persons then get affected. So we're imploring that the business owners to engage in collection and ensure that your garbage is collected so you don't impact negatively on the residential garbage. We also believe that the way garbage are stored, and I know that the solid waste entity, they have reported it many times that when they go to some areas to collect, it's very difficult because of the way it is stored. Maybe not in a container, so they could just come and empty the container, but it's all on the ground. So that takes more time, and that will impact on the number of trips that they can also make. There are persons that we also educate persons to board the bottom of their containers so that water do not settle in them, so and that will not breed mosquitoes, which will cause another issue. So those are some of the challenges. The other challenge, and I think I mentioned it earlier, because the corporation does not have total control over some of the entities that are responsible in the management of public health in the parish. Sometimes it gets very difficult for some of the enforcement and some of the tasks to be carried out. Because as I mentioned before, previously, the corporation was responsible for all of these entities. Now, because they report to other ministers and ministries, it is sometimes difficult to get them to carry out the task in a timely manner. So those are some of the issues that, that I think we face. We do also have lots of stray animals, and sometimes they themselves create more work and ensure that, and because of these stray animals, the towns are more unsightly because they themselves go into the dumps and the bins and scatter those garbage. So those are some of the issues that we have. But just to say that we do have other issues. Enforcement is an issue. And I want to say that enforcement itself, meaning that we need additional enforcers. We also need a real look at some of our laws and regulations and fines. Some of the fines are really, really minuscule. Just to outline a few of them to you. Under the Litter Act, for a person who urinates in public, that's $2,000. Person throwing out the garbage out of their car on the wayside, that's $2,000. And so the fines are minuscule. So sometimes persons will just take the fine and go and pay it. So I think increasing those fines would have maybe assisted in basically making our towns a little cleaner. We do also have a lot of issues that relate to the informal sector, which is Clarendon has a lot of informal sector. And I know a lot of what we spoke about had to do with garbage collection, but public health is much more than that. It has to do with licensing barbers and hairdressers and butchers and so on. And you do have some practices in the town that if they continue, they can create a risk for citizens. So if hairdresser, for example, or a nail technician is not licensed by us, the clients that go to them, they can't ensure that they did the right training and they won't leave with certain type of infection, or they may carry on some bacteria from one place to the next. So we want to ensure that the public themselves understand that they need to ensure that the persons that they're utilizing are licensed person. We do have a situation with Sunday morning butchering. Those animals are not stamped by the public health inspector. So there's no guarantee of the quality of those type of meat. And this also impact on the predator loss, because we don't know where some of these persons get some of these animals. So it's a lot of issues that we need to fix. And as I mentioned, the public themselves has to play a part in that.
All right. We have Simply from Lens on Instagram saying that they should be doing community service in addition to paying fines. But which brings me to my question: who's responsible for revising those laws?
Okay, so it is the municipal corporation. It can be the members of parliament, because it's something that we would have to do resolutions, and we'll lobby the public and our minister to get those done. But definitely, lots of our laws are really outdated, and lots of the fines are outdated. And so those are some of the things that we need to fix. So just to mention one of the issues that we're facing. Under the market laws, the market is open, should be open at 6 and close at 6. Many of the vendors who are especially from the rural areas, they come out from Thursday night and they sleep in the market. So those create additional public health issues. Street vending creates an issue. There are times when the garbage truck comes out to clean the street, it's overrun by vendors. There are times when you pass through at maybe 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. the town is clean, and by 9 it's all garbage. So these type of issues does impact and the cleanliness of our town.
All right, quite a bit to be done there. As it relates to that, because as we can appreciate that the municipal corporation will not be able to track everything, how can community members report public health and sanitation issues?
So there are many ways. And one is they can report to their councillor. There are some persons who they can call into the municipal corporation, and there's a drop box at the corporation. Persons usually come in and just sign one of those complaint forms. They can also do that. They can also go on our social media angles and just send those concerns to us. So there are many avenues that persons can report some of these issues. What I'm going to ask to and this is something that the solid waste authority is always asking. Some of the breaches, when we go, we can't find those persons, but if the community member can identify some of those persons, then we can then charge some of those persons. So what we'll ask persons to do in your community, if you see a truck driving by and dumping garbage at a location, just take a picture of this license plate and send it to us. Then we will follow through with that investigation. So definitely, we also expect, although we police the area, we expect that Citizens Association and youth clubs and other groups also police their area to ensure that it is clean. Because remember, an outbreak will impact on you directly. So, and there are persons who keep their area clean, but then they go somewhere else to dump their garbage. So they are being selfish. So we are asking you to protect your own environment and not allow these persons to come into your space to make it unhealthy and unsightly.
Well said. All right. Chairman, Councillor Maragh, what is the committee's vision for this as it relates to improving health and sanitation across communities?
We aim to ensure that our agencies are working. We aim to ensure that our agencies are working. We also are on top of all of these agencies. I mean, they have to give us a comprehensive report when they come to the meeting. And I know all the councillors would love to know that they are representing a division, an area, or communities that they can feel proud of themselves to say, yes, we have accomplished this much, this community. When I got here, it wasn't as clean as it is now, and I've made it cleaner, much cleaner than what it was before. And of course, you know, that would make us, as I said before, we would like it to be perfect, but we know that everything is perfect. But we are working and we continue to work. And this is why we have decided to write to the ministry to ensure that they get some more garbage trucks in the area, in the parish, so that we can go back to that schedule that we had before. And of course, we always get a report from our health department on the vector workers over there, the areas that they are covering, you know, the amount of people that they are seeing, to ensure that the people themselves take responsibility for their health, you see, and that sort of thing. And of course, you know, let me just take the opportunity to say this, that all of these things, the garbage collection people and so on, just like the street light bills are paid from your property taxes, the fire service as well. So we do still find a number of people out there who are not paying their property taxes. And when you don't pay, it affects the entire service that we can give to you and the agencies can give to you. So, you know, I think that needs to be said.
Okay. Can I just add a few things, Ms. Witter?
Right. Before you add the few things, simply through my lens, let me get it right, is asking for an email address where complaints can be sent.
Okay. Let me just, I'll get it to you in a few minutes.
All right.
Clarendon Municipal. Let me just, Clarendon Municipal Corporation. Spell out the words at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. That's one of them. I think there's also Clarendon MC. Clarendon MC.gov.jm. So that's another one that it can be sent to.
All right. So you can watch the replay on YouTube.
Yes, and
the blog for the specifics.
Yes. Also, if anybody see anything out there earlier, they would have heard that you can take a picture, take a photograph of the truck, whatever you see dumping, anybody you see dumping, whatever garbage or doing whatever that they're not supposed to do, send pictures. I mean, I, as a chairman, I have no problem sending it to my WhatsApp number. It's 876-582-1352.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Go ahead, Sir Blake. You were going to share.
I just wanted to add as relates to the vision. Before I mention, speak to that, just to say that there are things that we are working on that we want to achieve. And one is to have an approved disposal site within the parish. I know Mayor Maragh champion the separation of garbage and also recycling. We did some work with Recycling Partners of Jamaica, trying to locate a site in Clarendon for recycled materials to be stored, and so that we think would help with the garbage management. The amendment of the outdated legislation. We also want to modernize the water supply systems. We also want to ensure that we have public abattoirs in every town, because as it is now, there are some places that will not purchase chicken or other meat if they're not prepared at the public at abattoirs. And so we want to ensure that the towns have access to that, our different communities. We are working on getting a modern cemetery for the parish. As you may be aware, we are not accepting burials at Denby Cemetery at this point, and we are far advanced in getting a new modern cemetery for the parish. We're looking at partnering with the schools to have different workshops and meetings and discussion with students and environmental lessons. But I want to state also that the parish has a vision, and this vision is in our local sustainable development plan. And the vision was not created by the municipal corporation. It was by the various stakeholders, which included the public and the citizens association and so on. And the vision says that the parish is a thriving parish with a healthy, educated, and creative population that lives in a safe and attractive communities. And that means everything that public health does is encompassed in getting this vision achieved.
All right. For that. And for those who are tuning into this forum for the very first time, the platform pretty much covers the different areas of the local sustainable development plan. So here we're having local governance and community development. We have a forum for safety and security, and we can't have educated population unless we have education involved. So of course, we have a segment for early childhood development, the very foundation. We have our youth segment, where our youth leaders share how they are being a part of the change that they want to see in their different spaces. And we have highlights in our community corner that highlights health and different aspects of community life. This month, we showcase two of our awesome educators that's doing really transformative work as it relates to math education in the parish. And if this is the first time that you're tuning into this specific forum, all these forums, there's a playlist that you can catch up on all that you have missed. I think we're on the second to last committee at the municipal corporation, so you can go back and watch the replay for the others to see the different committees that support the work that's been done in the parish, how you can engage and get more information and get involved, because that's a part of what we want you to do, not just to get the information, but to get involved, like the person who asked about how they can share information. That's what we want you to do, take action after you leave here. So thank you so much for sharing that. So let's get our live viewers in the conversation. We have Mrs. Thompson shared earlier, drain cleaning is almost another issue going into the hurricane season. What's going on as it relates to drain cleaning as we approach hurricane season?
Yeah, well, we do have our regular drain cleaning schedule. So every fourth and 8th month, which coincides with the beginning of the rainy season, is when we allocate our PRF, which is the Parochial Revenue Fund, equally to all the councillors, so they can clean up some of their community drains. But remember that it's never enough. We won't be able to do all the drains at once. So that's why I know most councillors like myself, we do a set of certain communities in the first 4 months, and in the 8th month we do another set of drains. And we need to know as well that it's not all the drains that come under our responsibility. So we do have the local government drains, and we have the central government drains, which come under the National Works Agency and the members of Parliament as well. So the larger drains, the one that run parallel to a main road or across a main road, those belong to the central government. Our drains are the smaller ones in the communities. And so we do have a drain cleaning schedule.
So we're currently doing drain cleaning, so you should be seeing some drain cleaning within your community at this point.
And if you don't see anything going on, reach out. All right. Truth Pharaoh, Kennedy Grove has water problems. As you mentioned earlier, there are minor water supply, and this one would be under the NWC. Right. Which means that Truth Pharaoh was not at the meeting yesterday.
Right. Yes.
Right. Go ahead and share, Councillor Maragh, what's happening for Kennedy Grove.
Well, we know Kennedy Grove. But that when they were just built, they had a drainage problem, a flooding issue, sewage plant issue, and all that. Now we understand that they have a water problem. I think there are some challenges with the pumps that serve those areas. NWP has indicated that they'll be working on it. They also have challenges in one or two pubs that serve the Mapen area as well. And so I can reach out to them tomorrow morning. I don't want to call anybody this late at night. I can reach out to them tomorrow morning to find out exactly what is happening with that pub that serves Kennedy Grove as well. But it's something that we can follow up. I don't got a permanent issue, it can be fixed.
All right. Commendations in the mix for timely garbage removal from the community of Longville Park. Thank you so much for that. It's always great to see the mix. So some work happening. Harold Barnaby, Toby Heights, there is big improvement in garbage collection.
Thank you.
Commendations, CMC, keep it going. However, comfort needs some comfort. They don't have any trucks doing garbage collection, so citizens dispose their garbage in an area in the community.
Okay.
So we'll take note of the comfort area, and then we'll make representation to SPM to find out what's happening in that area.
All right. And over on Instagram, you're welcome. Simply, how do we get the garbage trucks to come to the rural areas? Nella, which area exactly? We need to take note of the area so that arrangements can be made. So they're having serious issues with storage and disposal of garbage. Nella Jen, let us know where exactly you're located.
All right.
Right. And simply through my lens, we still need a collaborative effort from both central and local government with providing better services. Agreed. All right. Nella is in Thompsontown. Councillor Maragh?
Yeah, that's the garbage collection.
Right.
Yeah, okay, all right. So I'll make contact with the parish manager tomorrow morning.
Right. So there's improper disposal of garbage because they don't have regular garbage collection.
Right.
So we want to, right. Thompsontown, thank you very much. And we have to accept this one. There needs to be greater collaboration between local and central government.
Right. Before we move on, just to ask those persons to send more information to the email address that we provided, because there are times that we need to know the exact locations, because a truck may go into Thompson, but maybe not on a certain street.
Right.
So we need to find out exactly which are the areas not being serviced.
Right. And take a picture of the dump site and send it to.
Definitely.
Yes, and tell us the exact location.
The exact location, that would be good.
As I said before, my WhatsApp number 876-582-1352. Just send all the information so it can be forwarded straight to the manager and we'll deal with it.
All right. Ramona Lawson, it's been a while. Welcome back. Hi, I know the Municipal Corporation provides transportation centers for various routes servicing the township. Yes. All right, she's just making a comment. Thank you. Always great to hear from you, Ramona. Tony Lewis, I live in Braehead and there is no garbage pickup, but the inspector is giving citations for garbage that we burn. What should we do with our garbage?
Okay, so what we'll do, we'll also look at the braid area to see what's happening in that location, and we
Brilliant.
know that we do have an officer that monitors the Northern Bells, who is always very cooperative and supportive of the corporation. So we'll ask them to pay more
Yeah.
attention to that area, because we are not supporting the burden of garbage at this time. So we want to ensure that the garbage are collected on time and to prevent that. What we'll also do, Ms. Witter,
Yes.
we will be providing schedules as we get them, so persons know exactly when the trucks are coming into their area.
Okay. And follow from Nella in
And
terms
just
of
to add that,
the trucks don't come off the main.
oh,
So that the trucks in Thompson Town don't come off the main. That's the problem. And
okay.
is there a director for
What
the
I don't do is that.
councillors? There's a question. Is there a
Yeah,
director?
what I do is that. Oh, sorry. Let me just go back to Thompson Town. I mean,
Right,
what I know is that these trucks are huge. They are very big trucks. Very big trucks. So it all depends on the terrain and the the hills and the valleys and so on. It has to go to. But what we'll do, we'll communicate to these managers, let them go there, take a look, go to the drivers and see where the trucks can go, where they can access, and where they can access, so that they can communicate with the residents.
Okay. Sir Blake, is there a director for the councillors? A list of the councillors?
Yes, we can also provide that. We can also provide that, and you will share on your platform.
Okay. All right. So look out for that information. We'll share across
And
that.
persons can also go to the CMC website, and they will get all of those details also.
Oh, all right. Sir Barnaby missed the planning session. He's suggesting that housing plans not be approved for housing schemes by the municipal corporation until all requirements are put in place by the developer.
Okay, so
Okay.
all right, so let me just there are laws that governs how developments are done, and so when an approval is given, it means that development has not started. It's just the plan itself that is approved. One of the issues we're having is that persons commence to purchase from persons before the infrastructures and other requirements are in, which the corporation doesn't monitor the sale of those lands because we don't know when persons are purchasing these lands. What we do though is to, for checks and balance, is not to release titles until these infrastructures are in. So we implore persons that when you're purchasing lots, call the CMC to ensure that these locations are approved, and also do not pay over all the money until all the infrastructure is in and you can get a title. So we do see persons calling, paying all their money and can't get a title. Then that would be a court matter between you and that developer. So there are certain things that you need to follow to ensure that you protect yourselves. We continue to monitor. We continue to ensure that the development are completed. We do have issues where some of these developments take years and sometimes developers die before some of these infrastructures are completed. So we know that it's also a challenge, which we are trying to address.
All right. We have a number of others. We are almost at the top of the hour, but they don't always get to see you in the space, Sir Blake. So let's take some more of these. What more can be done to dissuade PPV operators from parking in spaces reserved for customers wanting to access businesses along Main Street?
Oh, okay. So that is also one of the issues that we're trying to resolve, and we do have a plan of action. We have commenced some work. So let me just outline a few of them. We are developing a few transportation centers within town. We're having some issues with some of them. So one of them is across from the tax office. We are trying to develop that area so the taxis that goes to another section of the parish can park in that location. We're also in dialogue with a ministry for another property in the town, and that would be for just a public parking space for persons who go into the town and just want somewhere to park their vehicle, a paid parking area. We're looking at that. We're also looking at another parking space area within the is it Bramante Street area. So we're looking at a number of open lots in the town to develop these as transportation hub. And when that is done, then the enforcement could be a little better, and persons would have adequate space with all the requirements that are needed for the taxi drivers. So that's one of the strategies that we're doing. We're also looking at some on-street parking also. And so the Road and Works Department that is at this time is doing their assessment, and we'll be gazetting some streets as one ways, and we'll also be doing some permit parking along some streets. So it's a comprehensive plan that we're working on, and we have had numerous site visits with National Works Agency, and they're also looking at the whole traffic flow and to get some traffic lights within the town of Maypen.
All right. Let's go over this one. You would have shared on this earlier, but a lot of the municipalities' potential revenue is currently being rerouted to Thetford. What's the status of identifying a new burial park for the parish?
Okay. So we have already identified two locations. One is owned by a government entity, and we are in discussion to get that property. The other is owned by another company, and we are in the process of purchasing that property. We are now awaiting the results of the environmental permit. As soon as that comes back and is suitable, then you should see that area being developed shortly. As a matter of fact, we want to ensure that commences before the end of this year. Just to say though that we have done significant work in Chapelton and Penance, and we advertise those areas as good cemeteries for persons to intern their loved ones. We realize that a lot of persons don't want to go into these areas, but though the Penance Cemetery, I think, is one of the best cemeteries within the parish. So we implore persons to look at that location and look at it as an option, because we think that it is comparable, if not even better than Thetford.
All right. Colleen Pinnock, there is a sore point for me near Chandler's estate. We have asked for a no dumping sign to be placed because the citizens have been cleaning it since 2022. Right now it's unsightly. So we're gonna need some more details, Pinnock.
That's Chandler's Pen?
Chandler's.
Chandler's Pen.
Yeah, the estate. I know the property, yeah. The council has always been talking about it, but we just need to get the sign up on.
Okay, that can be provided, and please follow with the councillor, and we'll get that sign up.
Yeah.
Okay. Simply through my lens, Mr. Blake, we need a whole public awareness campaign on that issue. Let's know which of the issues you're referring to. All right, Jaden Howell, good night, everyone. In the racecourse division, even though the garbage trucks come, they don't take up all the trash at the stops, so there is always garbage present. What can be done about that?
All right, so we'll communicate that to the parish manager and see how they can fix that problem.
All right, so that's racecourse.
Racecourse. Mm-hmm.
I just to ask, is there a special street in racecourse? I don't know, it's a big area.
Yes. If that could be provided, that would be good, because as Councillor Maragh mentioned, it's racecourse is a large division, so it would be good to know exactly what area of racecourse.
Okay. Welcome, Dr. Lavelle. Thank you for joining us. The comment about purchasing lots from developers before infrastructure being put in place. Okay. That's the one regarding campaign. Public campaign.
And I'm willing to come back to speak more on development approval and what is required, what are the rights of and responsibilities of citizens, because that's something that historically the way we purchase lands is through just a sales agreement or natural lawyer, and so there are times when the developer, without even starting anything, without even submit a plan, just sell a piece of land. And there are times when lands are sold, and when they come in to do the application, it doesn't meet the specification, so it cannot be approved. So the owners cannot get titles. So those are some of the issues, but we're willing to come back to discuss that matter.
All right, so we'll add that to the schedule. All right. Spinnock is saying that it's not the estate, it's on the main road.
Okay.
All right,
Okay,
that's
then.
Chandler's. All right, so simply through my lens, thank you so much for your participation. And we look out for that forum where we'll share more as it relates to that aspect. And you can be part of the public education campaign. You're joining us virtually. So what you can do is you see something that you know can benefit others in your community. I mean, take a clip and share it. You can feel free to take a clip and share it with others so they too can be better informed and make more informed choices. And speaking of that, we have our youth leaders, we have our justices of the peace, we have community group leaders, our CDCs represented here, and so many others, educators all. So, final thoughts, Councillor Maragh, and then CEO, wrap up by sharing with us how businesses, schools, and youth groups can get more involved in maintaining a cleaner, healthier environment. Councillor Maragh, then.
Yeah, okay, good. So, yes, in wrapping up, I'd just like to implore all our stakeholders. So, you just mentioned them a while ago, to get involved and to communicate with us. Communication is key, because if we don't know what's happening out there, wouldn't be able to fix it. So, communicate with us on a regular basis. Let us know what is not happening. Let us get involved. Let us fix it for you as quickly as we can. And another thing again is that a few years ago, as was mentioned by Mr. Blake, we started this separation of garbage thing. And I know a lot of people wouldn't believe it, but if you just look at it, almost 50% of the garbage that you dispose in some home is coming from food waste. Now, food waste, you don't have to put that in the garbage bin. Food waste, those of us who have a little yard space, whether it's the side of the house, the back of the house, the front of the house, wherever you're not utilizing it, you need to just plant some vegetables, plant something, and utilize your food waste as compost in that area. And then you'll be saving all of this hassle to get the garbage bin out there, waiting on trucks to collect that garbage when you can utilize it right there and eat healthy food. So yes, do communicate with us, and of course we all would like to work together to ensure that Clarendon becomes a better place in the end, and that's what we're all for, development of our parish.
Well said. And speaking of development, Sir Blake, take this one as you wrap. Clarendon now boasts a convergence of some of the most improved, best network of roads. The CMC legitimately facilitates this progress. What is the corporation doing to highlight its role in this?
Whoa, okay. So let me state that we have been doing lots of work, and thank you for that comment. What we're trying to this year, we want to improve our communication strategy, and so we have started to do work on all our social media angles, and we have done a new website, and so we want to engage all our stakeholders, all the youth groups, the elder, all different sectors. We want to engage those persons. We want to do more town hall meetings, and we never refuse an invitation. We do have our regular town hall meetings that are planned by the corporation, but we also do come into the community when the community requests us, and so that is important to us, because engagement is what drives us. We are working for you, and so we want to know what's happening in your community. We want to know exactly what your releases are, and so that's something that we want to improve this year. As you mentioned, the road network. I mentioned at a meeting yesterday that Clarendon is very attractive at this point. And from where we sit, we have developers and prospective developers coming to the parish every day. And what we are seeing is that persons from in Kingston and other parts of the country, they are seeking lands in Clarendon because they now see us as an ideal place for development. And with this development comes other issues, which we are trying to guide and to ensure that when we develop, it's done in a better way than it was previously done. So we are trying to work on that. And what we want, we want the citizens to see the improvement, because no matter what we do, if it's not been seen, if it's not been felt by the citizens, then at least we don't feel like we have achieved our objective. So when citizens can commend the corporation and spread the word or see the improvement in their community, that is what pleases us. So it's not just to do PR to sell something. We want the community to see it and then they sell it on our behalf. But we are trying to make the parish better. We know it's not where we want it. We realize that some of the towns are not aesthetically pleasing in the way they look, and so that's something that we are working on also, to ensure that we have clean and nice looking towns and spaces, and we have parks and play areas and so on. So what we want is to ensure that there is a developed parish that can compare with any area in Jamaica, and we think we can achieve that. And so that is one of our vision, and we are working to achieve such.
All right. Simply through my lens to Sona Armsby. Ms. Armsby. It's great to see you virtually after such a long time. That was Ms. Armsby communicating with us on Instagram.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Chairman Councillor Winston Maragh, Sanitation and Public Health and Sanitation Committee at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, and of course, the Chief Executive Officer, Rowan Blake. Thank you so much for joining and sharing this rich, insightful information. Thank you for this timely conversation, very necessary. And thank you to the live viewers who are communicating. And this is part of why we have this forum, because we know that when you have those town halls, a number of you are at work or otherwise engaged. So this is a space where you can ask your questions as well and get your responses. And you can go back and get access to information that you might have missed and share with others so they too can be better informed, so that we can protect our spaces. So thank you again, Councillor Maragh and Sir Blake. All right, Sisona Worrell. Thank you for tuning in. Very informative indeed. And for those who will be watching the replay, thank you so much for connecting with this space. And as always, don't keep the information to yourself. Please share. If there's one message that we should be taking away from this forum, it's that sanitation is not just the government, local or central government job. It's a shared responsibility. So let's continue to play our part, hold each other accountable, and support the systems designed to protect our health.
Okay.
All right. Be sure to follow Serenity Resource Connector for replays, updates, and more community forums like this. Join us next Thursday for Culture Corner with JCDC. So until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and let's build a better Clarendon together, because we are all in this together. Wonderful and informative information. Thanks for the wonderful update. Well appreciated. You're all welcome. And thank you so much for making the time to be here with us. We look forward to seeing you again. All right, the comments still rolling in. Tony Lowers, I must be driving on the wrong main roads because I travel the island. I think Clarendon has some of the worst main roads. Chapelton to Frankfield. That's just a section of the parish. So all right, so we will work on those, Sir Lewis. We have a lot of development. That's something that we can share another time in terms of the areas for the main roads that will be developed. That's for another segment. You're welcome, Doc. All right, have yourself a fantastic rest. The Local Governance and Community Development Live Forum was brought to you by the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, working for you always. Visit the Serenity Resource Connector website at www.serenityresourceconnector.com. Subscribe for a weekly blog post. Join us again on Thursday at 8 p.m. Thank you for watching.